Incredible moment. Single Dad's 50 blind date revealed an unexpected life-changing gift from CEO. The air crackled with anticipation as Jake stepped into the diner, the place bustling with familiar faces and the aroma of sizzling burgers. A blind date, a 50 gamble his sister had convinced him to take. His heart raced, not because of excitement, but out of nervousness. How could he, a mechanic and grocery store clerk, possibly impress anyone? He was used to grease under his nails, not charms and banter. As he settled into the booth, a burst of laughter drew his attention to the entrance. Lisa walked in, her smile lighting up the room like sunshine peeking through storm clouds. She had an infectious energy about her, and Jake felt a tight knot in his chest begin to loosen. They talked over coffee, laughter spilling like the steaming cups they held. Each word was a thread weaving their stories together. Jake had been suffocating in the shadows of grief after losing his wife to cancer. Now he felt his heart slowly beginning to awake. "Two jobs must be tough," Lisa said, a twinkle in her eye. "But I admire your dedication to Emily." Her genuine acknowledgement stung him, pain and pride fighting for the forefront. He nodded, grateful for an understanding in a moment of shared vulnerability. Lisa revealed her role as a CEO of a philanthropic organization, working tirelessly to uplift communities like theirs. Jake's heart swelled with hope, imagining what a brighter future could look like for him and Emily. They exchanged stories, lost in each other's worlds. It was perfect, until the dinner went hilariously awry. A misjudged lean-scent coffee cascading over the table. Jake stumbled over apologies, cheeks burning with embarrassment, all while Lisa chuckled. There was something comforting in her laughter. It made him feel seen, despite the mishaps. Just when the evening seemed to descend into chaos, Lisa surprised Jake with a proposition. "I'd love for you to consider joining my organization," she said with a warmth that spread through him. The idea fluttered like a bird inside his chest, thrilling yet terrifying. Could he leave his comforts behind? But as he stood with Lisa among her affluent colleagues at the upcoming charity event, whispers snaked through the crowd, heavy with skepticism. Each sycophantic glance felt like a gavel striking, echoing his working-class roots dismissed, overlooked. The rich laughter of the crowd felt alien to him, and yet, he felt the warmth of community wrapped around his heart. And when that critical moment came, Jake standing in front of influential figures, his palms clammy but determination coursing through his veins, he felt a fire rise within him. "It's not about where you come from," he began, voice trembling yet resolute, "but what you do for your family and community that truly defines you." With every syllable, he shed his doubt, turning vulnerability into strength. The tension thickened as eyes locked onto him, some enchanted by his truth, while others remained unconvinced. But he pressed on, knowing there were folks in that room who believed in hard work, who stood with him. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." In that moment, as each soul absorbed his words, he caught sight of familiar faces from his town, the very faces that had witnessed his struggles and triumphs. They were there for him, reminding him he was not alone. But would that be enough to shift minds, to inspire hearts? Jake's heart thudded in rhythm with the anxious beat of hope. Would this act of bravery be the turning point? Could he break through those barriers, securing a future for Emily that was more than a fight for survival? As Jake's words hung in the air, a subtle shift began. Some of the skeptical gazes softened. He could sense it. The tide was turning, even if only just a little. He felt energy ripple through him, a strange mixture of nervousness and hope intertwining. But before he could allow himself to bask in the shift, a voice sliced through the warmth of the moment. "Who are you to speak on what defines a person? A mechanic giving family values lessons?" It was a tall man, slicked back hair and a tailored suit, his eyes glinting with condescension. Jake clenched his fists, unwilling to buckle under the weight of arrogance. But Lisa intervened, stepping forward with fierce determination. "Jake embodies every value that this community stands for. He works tirelessly for his daughter and represents what it truly means to uplift each other, she retorted, drawing the attention of more attendees. Her support felt like a giant push right at his back, a shield against the onslaught of doubt. The man's smirk faded as murmurs spread through the crowd. Confidence bubbled inside Jake. He felt the need to defend not just himself, but every single blue-collar worker who had ever been underestimated. "I'm here because communities like ours deserve to be seen and heard," he shouted, his voice ringing with conviction that pulsed louder than his heartbeat. "I want to show my daughter there's more to life than just getting by." A spark ignited in the audience. Heads began to nod. Conversations sparked to life. Encouraging whispers began to float around him. Each approving look from the crowd felt like bricks being added to a wall of support. For the first time, he wasn't just a mechanic, he was a man on a mission. Jake continued, fueled by each step toward the truth. "I want to help foster a sense of belonging, of purpose. When you lift one of us, you lift all of us. We're stronger together." He felt his passion radiate, eyes bright with determination. He could almost hear Emily's laughter, a reminder of why he was standing there, bearing his heart. Cheers erupted, catching him off guard. He glanced at Lisa, her eyes sparkling with pride. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about their community, sharing stories, hopes, and dreams. But just then, the tall man beckoned for attention again. "You think a few heartfelt words will change the minds of those up here?" He laughed, trying to regain control of the room. "You think they care about your family's worth?" The room went quiet. The laughter faded, and all eyes turned back to Jake. He took a deep breath. "Maybe they just need to remember what it's like to care," he replied softly but firmly, "what it's like to be human." The atmosphere was charged, electrified by the raw emotions swirling around. Every face in the room seemed engaged now. The tall man's words had lost their power, fading into the background of something much bigger. Jake locked eyes with Lisa across the room. He noticed her smile, a beacon pulling him forward. The connection sparked something deeper. He could see hope in her eyes, a recognition of change. Together, he thought, we can build something real. Just when he felt the tide might just be turning toward acceptance, someone in the crowd shouted, "What's next? What will you do?" The question hung in the air, both daunting and exhilarating. Jake hesitated, heart racing. What would he say? Could he really carve a path out of uncertainty and doubt? Just as he prepared to speak, he realized this was only the beginning. What transformation lay ahead? The future felt blank but promising. Who would he become? Could he move forward with the courage that encapsulated the moment he had just seized? Or would he retreat again into the shadows of fear? With a deep breath for courage, he stepped forward again, ready to respond. Jake took a moment to steady himself, feeling the eyes of the crowd pierce through him. The anticipation was palpable. What's next? He thought. This wasn't just a turning point for him. It was a call to action for everyone watching. "I want to create a program that helps single parents like me." He started slowly, gathering momentum with each word. "We need resources, mentorship, and support. We deserve a place to turn to when things get tough." As he spoke, images of late nights spent fixing broken engines swirled in his mind, but with every word he spoke, Jake painted a brighter picture of possibility. He could see the faces of other single parents who would benefit, their struggles mirrored in his own. He felt the quiet energy of the room shift again, as if each person was being woven into something larger than themselves. Imagine having a coaching network, a community that lifts each other up, where kids have safe spaces and parents have allies. "If I can do this, let us do it together." Each sentence felt like a hammer striking an anvil, building a rhythm that echoed hope and resilience. People began to stir, leaning forward in their seats, the energy more vibrant than before. Jake could feel hearts beating faster, a shared urgency resonating like a drum. The tall man who had previously sought to belittle him shifted uncomfortably. "Do we have the power to really change things?" Jake continued, his voice steady. "I believe we do. The only thing standing between us and a better life is the commitment to support one another. If we can start there, even if we fall, we'll fall together. And that will mean something. Together, we can rise." He paused, letting the words sink in. Whispers faded. Shifting hands stilled. The faces reflected a spectrum of emotions from skepticism to hope, from doubt to determination. But Jake wasn't done. He could hardly ignore the fire igniting within him. I also want to host workshops, lessons in trades, in resumes, in budgeting, and in self-care. Empowering skills so that we can be prepared for whatever is thrown our way. And it starts here, in our community. Lisa watched in awe, admiration dancing across her features. She mouthed yes, as Jake caught her eye. That one word, that one simple expression of support, magnified what he felt inside. A woman in the front row cleared her throat, capturing everyone's attention. What if we could help adults and kids? She asked, her brow furrowing with determination. What if we organized after-school programs? Clubs for our kids, where they learn together and form friendships. That way, parents can bond too. It's not just about surviving, it's about living. A ripple of excitement coursed through the crowd. Yes, Jake shouted, encouraged by the spontaneous burst of ideas. Let us create chances for families to reconnect, to share experiences. Loud chatter erupted. Ideas flew through the air like vibrant colors in a painting. Plans and dreams started bouncing from person to person. Jake's heart swelled. This wasn't just his dream anymore, this was their dream. But amid the excitement, a sense of dread seeped back in. What if it all falls apart? A voice inside him whispered. Jake took a breath, squashing the fear down. We have to try? He thought, his resolve solidifying. If we don't at least chase this dream together, what's left? Just then, the tall man raised his hand again. And if it fails? When you fall short, what does that mean for you? For us? Jake looked at him, unwavering. It means we learn and we try again. Isn't that what we do? Isn't that the story of every parent? Every worker? Every lives lived? The air thickened with tension, but the crowd seemed ready to embark on this journey together. Jake glanced at Lisa as she smiled brightly, her eyes sparkling with a mix of pride and courage. He felt a surge of empowerment as he continued. So let us promise to catch each other when we fall. Let us work towards something greater for all of us. The crowd erupted in applause, cheers echoing off the walls, fueled by a shared sense of purpose. Here they were on the brink of creating something unstoppable. But beneath the celebration, Jake sensed currents of uncertainty. What if he couldn't maintain such momentum? The path ahead was blurred, yet the excitement shimmered like sunlight breaking through clouds. As the applause resounded, Jake's thoughts raced. What would this community's first steps look like? How would they build the foundation they needed? With the questions buzzing, he realized this was only the beginning of a much larger journey. And as he soaked in the joy radiating from the crowd, a new thought tugged at him. What would the giant leap feel like once he took that first step into the unknown? The cheers began to fade, but the electricity in the room crackled like a live wire. Jake felt the weight of everyone's hopes resting on his shoulders, and it both terrified and exhilarated him. He glanced around, eyes scanning the faces in the crowd, each one reflecting the dreams he had just sent soaring into the air. Lisa approached him, her smile infectious, radiating warmth. You really touched everyone out there, Jake, she said breathlessly. I felt it. It's like they all want to fight for this with you. Yeah, Jake hesitated, uncertain how to articulate the rush of emotions. I want them to know they're not alone, that we're in this together. Exactly, Lisa nodded, her excitement gasping across her features. And they believed you. They believe in this. But, do you believe in it? Her question hung heavy in the air, filling Jake with doubt. What if he failed? What if those tentative ideas turned out to be just that, ideas? His heart hammered as he thought about leading a whole community. I have to believe it, he replied, trying to convince both Lisa and himself. We need to get started right away. Just then, a man with graying hair pushed through the crowd, his face a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Jake, he called out, what is your plan? You can't just throw ideas out and expect them to materialize. Jake swallowed hard, but kept his chin up. You're right. It starts with a meeting, a brainstorming session. We need to gather everyone interested and make a solid plan. The man frowned, crossing his arms. Who is going to lead this? You? You barely know half of us. Exactly, because I want us to lead it together. This isn't just my vision, it's ours. Every voice here matters. Suddenly, the online connection rang out. A girl in the back shouted, but we need a name. What do we call ourselves? Yeah, echoed the enthusiasm of others. We need a name. Jake's heart quickened. Let us take a moment and think of something together. something that resonates with all of us. Voices began to rise in a delicious cacophony. Ideas flew through the air: community builders, parents united, family first. They tossed terms like a game, each one igniting another spark until the energy became a palpable force. Amidst the chaos, Jake felt the once doubtful weight on his shoulders lighten. "Whatever we choose, it needs to speak to us," he said, raising his voice to be heard. "It should remind us of the support and strength we're building together." The moment hung as everyone shared tentative glances filled with the promise of collaboration. Then a little boy piped up from the front. "What about Dream Team?" Laughter erupted, but Jake froze. In those two simple words, he saw an echo of all their aspirations, the possibility of creating the future they wished for, of lifting one another when life got tough. "Dream Team," he repeated. It rolled off his tongue like a melody. "I love that." Lisa beamed approvingly, and soon, more in attendance started to chant it, the rhythm rolling through the crowd. "Dream Team, Dream Team." Just then, Jake saw the man's stance soften. He didn't seem as skeptical now. "All right, I'll be there for the first meeting," he announced, surprising Jake. "But you better have a plan." Jake broke into a grin, his heart racing with hope. "Oh, we'll have a plan. This is just the start." But as laughter and joy filled the room, a lingering question remained. How could he ensure that everyone stayed engaged when reality kicked in? What if the excitement fizzled out when the hard work began? As Jake looked back at Lisa, she nodded to him, and once again the sense of purpose returned. Hand in hand, they were building a bridge. But would they be able to cross it when they got to the other side? The crowd started to disperse as Jake's mind swirled with thoughts. The shift had begun, but now the hardest part lay ahead. Would he have the strength to follow through on such a monumental promise? Jake's heart raced as the last remnants of laughter echoed through the hall. He glanced at the faces around him, now filled with excitement, but also uncertainty. Each expression told a story, revealing a mix of hope and fear, just like his. They had shared this moment together, but that moment was fleeting. Reality loomed just down the road. "Okay, Dream Team," he said, feeling the energy still lingering. "We need action steps. Let us set a date for our first meeting." As he spoke, Lisa began scribbling notes on her phone. "How about next Thursday? We can use the community center's back room. It has enough space for everyone." "That sounds great," Jake replied, the enthusiasm bubbling within him. "Let us finalize a time and start spreading the word. The more voices we have, the stronger our foundation will be." A few hands shot up in excitement. "I can help with flyers." One voice chimed in, another added, "I'll start a group chat online to keep everyone updated." Jake's chest swelled. This was what he had wanted: everyone coming together, ready to invest their time and effort. But beneath his excitement was a nagging thought. How far could this enthusiasm stretch? After the meeting, Jake joined Lisa on the sidewalk outside, the sun beginning to dip below the buildings, casting a golden glow. "You were amazing in there," she complimented, nudging his shoulder playfully. "I really think they're going to rally around you. But can I keep it going?" he murmured, staring at the pavement. "What if it all crumbles? I mean, it's easy to be excited now, but when the work starts, what if they lose interest?" Lisa paused, her expression turning serious. "You're not alone in this. Remember, we're creating something together. As long as you keep communicating and listening, they won't just disappear." He looked at her, the sincerity in her eyes grounding him. "You're right. I have to trust in the energy we've created." And the people just then, a voice behind them pulled them back into the moment. "Hey, Jake." It was the older man from earlier, now approaching with a few others trailing behind. "We'd like to brainstorm some ideas with you. We want to make sure this dream team really takes off." Jake felt a jolt of hope shoot through him. "Wow, really? That'd be incredible." The man nodded, a newfound eagerness in his voice. "We've got some ideas on how to engage those who might be hesitant. Can you meet us tomorrow morning? The coffee shop on Main?" "Absolutely," Jake replied, his heart now pounding with a different kind of energy. Ideas, plans, and fuel for the fire were piling up. As the group walked away, he turned back to Lisa, a smile breaking across his face. "This is happening. We're on our way." But as the day faded from pink to blue, that old fear crept back in. How would he manage conflicting opinions? What if disagreements tore them apart? Would the impossible task of leading an entire community prove too great? He watched the city lights flicker to life, shadows of doubt creeping back in as he tried to shake them off. The night hours stretched ahead, a canvas waiting for colors yet to be painted. With each step, he felt the weight of responsibility balance against the thrill of change. But could he really navigate the twists and turns ahead? The journey had begun, but would he be able to steer his dream team through the obstacles lurking around the corner? Jake tossed and turned in his bed, the events of the day replaying in his mind like a movie on repeat. The dim light from the street lamp outside his window painted shadows on the walls, revealing his restless spirit. He closed his eyes but couldn't shake off the images of the faces from the meeting, so full of enthusiasm. Yet that excitement felt fragile under the weight of responsibility. Morning came too early. He slid out of bed, heart racing as he prepared for the meet-up at the coffee shop. A knot twisted in his stomach as he thought about what to say. What if his ideas didn't resonate? Would they see him as a leader or just the guy with a dream? At the coffee shop, the bustling crowd swelled around him, a cacophony of laughter and chatter. It felt intimidating as he watched people engage. He spotted the older man, Mr. Collins. He remembered sitting by a window, tapping away at his phone. Jake took a deep breath, gathering his courage, and approached him. "Hey, Mr. Collins," Jake said, forcing a smile. "Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to hear your ideas." Mr. Collins looked up and gave him a firm nod, his facial lines softening. "Good to see you, Jake. We believe in this initiative. A lot of people need to get on board." Soon, others arrived, a couple of familiar faces from last night. A woman named Carol, her son Timmy, a bright spark of energy beside her, joined them with warmth in her smile. "Jake, I brought some brainstorming materials," she said, waving a stack of colorful post-it notes. The mood shifted as they delved into ideas and strategies. Voices rose and fell, excitement building. Yet, with each suggestion thrown into the mix, Jake felt the weight of expectations. Would he be able to keep the peace when disagreements flared up? He glanced at Carol. She was deep in thought, her brows knitted. "Hey, what do you think about engaging the youth in our activities?" Jake proposed, hoping to bridge gaps with a fresh idea. Another member, Alan, a retired teacher, chimed in with skepticism. "But what if they don't care? They're preoccupied and hard to reach." Doubt crashed like a wave in Jake's mind as he watched the spark dissipate from Carol's expression. "I believe they care," he stammered, feeling vulnerable. "We just need to present things in a way that makes them feel included." The conversation turned heated, voices rising over one another in passionate disagreement. Jake felt the urge to step back, overwhelmed. Breathing deeply, he reminded himself he had to be the anchor. "Let us take a moment," he said, raising his hands. "We all want the same thing for our community. Let us focus on that." As silence settled around them, Carol stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Jake's right. We just need a solid plan to reach them." The group nodded, some murmuring praises. Relief washed over Jake. Maybe they could move beyond their differences and work together. Unity forged from adversity could be powerful. The more they spoke, the more he felt that familiar excitement reigniting in his chest. By the end of the meeting, ideas had solidified into actionable steps. Yet, as he left the cafe, a lingering doubt nestled deep in his mind. Could these hopeful plans withstand the challenges ahead? The community was diverse, their desires complicated. What if their differences became insurmountable? As Jake stepped onto the bustling sidewalk, he caught Lisa's eye, and she offered an encouraging smile. That small gesture felt like a lifeline. He was reminded of her words and the strength they had tapped into. But would their love for the community be enough to bind them when times got tough? Or would fractures emerge, threatening all their hard work? He took a deep breath, feeling the urge to unravel the mystery of what lay ahead. The sun was setting, casting long shadows, and it filled him with both dread and hope. Tomorrow, they would gather again. More voices would join, and he could only wonder if together, they could nurture this fragile seed of unity into something strong. Would it bloom or break? The next morning, the air felt different. There was a crispness outside that hinted at spring. Jake was up early, pacing his small kitchen. He brewed coffee, the aroma swirling in the air, momentarily blocking out the echoes of yesterday's doubts. But even with the caffeine coursing through him, anxiety bubbled just beneath the surface that he glanced at his phone. A message blinked from the group chat. "Can't wait to meet up later. I have some ideas." It was from Alan. A small wave of reassurance washed over him, a reminder that he wasn't alone in this mission. They were all in it together. Arriving at the community center felt like stepping into a different world. The old brick walls seemed to pulse with energy, transformed by the anticipation hanging thick in the air. A small crowd was gathering. Voices filled the room. Laughter spilled from corners like light. Jake stood back for a moment, observing. Then, as if on cue, Carol spotted him and rushed over, her enthusiasm infectious. "Jake, I've worked on that proposal we discussed. Can you believe how many ideas we've generated? I think we can really make this happen." Her excitement was a spark, igniting something deep within him. "That is amazing, Carol. I can't wait to hear your thoughts." Just then, Mr. Collins joined them, his presence commanding yet approachable. "I know we faced some pushback, but it's important we keep our minds open today. We've got a lot of new voices here." Jake nodded, pulling in a breath. The new voices were just that, new ideas woven with fresh perspectives. As they began the meeting, he felt himself shifting again, from uncertain to excited about the possibilities ahead. Each speaker shared their vision, building on the last. Timmy, Carol's son, stood up, his small frame unable to conceal the pride he felt. "What if we created an event at the park where kids can showcase their talents? Music, art, games. Everyone can join." The crowd erupted in applause, and even Jake felt the corners of his mouth lift in a smile. Kids showcasing their talents, that was a beautiful idea. He could almost hear the laughter echoing through the park already. But just as they were about to dive deeper into planning, the door swung open with a bang, and an unfamiliar figure entered. A man in a crisp suit with an air of authority. He held a stack of business cards and a determined look in his eyes. "Is this where the community revitalization meeting is happening?" Jake exchanged glances with Carol. Was this a sign or a disruption? The room quieted, anticipation hanging thick once more. "Hi, I'm Jake," he said, stepping forward, heart pounding. "We're just brainstorming some ideas to engage the youth in our community." The man smiled, his expression softening. "I'm Brian, and I might be able to help with that." Jake blinked, trying to process his words. "Help? How?" Brian continued. "I work at a local charity, and we have resources to support community events, funds, networks, everything. I heard about your meeting from a friend, and I thought I should come see for myself." His words hung in the air, a tantalizing hook. Could this be the breakthrough they'd hoped for? Before Jake could respond, he felt a shifting energy in the room. Ideas suddenly flowed like water, everyone energized and collaborating. Brian's presence changed everything. As discussions deepened, Jake sensed something magical taking root, an excitement unlike any he'd felt before. But just as hope swelled within him, doubt flickered again at the edges. What if this man was just a passerby? Would the support materialize, or would it be another fleeting dream? Jake squeezed his coffee cup, a simple grounding gesture. He needed to stay focused. "Let us keep this momentum going," he encouraged the group, determination sharpening his voice. They had a chance to truly change things. He could feel it pulsing in the air around them. As conversations buzzed around him, Jake realized he had a decision to make. How much faith would he put into this unexpected turn? Everything felt poised on the edge of something monumental. Would this encounter help solidify their dreams, or was it just a mirage, waiting to disappear? With that thought spinning in his mind, he looked at Brian, ready to step into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever came next. What if this was their moment? What if everything changed today? The atmosphere in the community center had shifted dramatically after Brian's entrance. With his knowledge and the promise of resources, Jake felt the weight of possibility pressing against him. As the group coalesced around Brian, excitement surged. Ideas flew, sparks igniting at every turn, illuminating pathways Jake hadn't considered before. "How do we apply for the funds?" Carol asked, her eyes wide. She was just as eager as Jake, caught up in the energy that buzzed through the room. Brian smiled, sensing the enthusiasm. "We do need a solid plan first. It doesn't have to be perfect, just clear on how it would benefit the community." Timmy raised his hand again, his small voice piping up amidst the bustle. "Can we include a talent show? With prizes?" His innocence brought a wave of laughter, easing the intensity that had surrounded Brian's arrival. Contentment began to replace Jake's earlier doubts. "Absolutely, Timmy. That could set the tone for everything." We want to draw people in, engage them. The meeting unfolded seamlessly. Small groups formed spontaneously, and Jake watched as faces lit up with new ideas. They drew on Brian's expertise, discussing how to market the event, secure permits, and reach out to local businesses for support. Through the flurry of conversation, Jake found himself stealing glances at Brian. This man was a stranger just moments ago, but now, he had become the bridge to their dreams. There was something he couldn't quite place about Brian, an intensity, a passion for community that resonated with Jake's own. In an unexpected moment, Brian caught Jake's eye. "You really care about this community, don't you?" His voice was tinged with sincerity, accompanied by a knowing smile. Jake felt his heart swell. "More than I can say. It's easy to feel lost, but I want to make a difference for my son, for everyone." Brian nodded, understanding radiating from him. That's the heart of it. If we can inspire the kids and give them hope, we've done our job. The group continued brainstorming, and laughter echoed against the brick walls. The synergy was palpable as they crafted ideas into something that felt real. Each suggestion was met with excitement, and even Jake felt the thrum of hope dancing within him. Just as they were settling on a list of proposed activities, a murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone at the back of the room voiced a concern. "But what if we don't raise enough funds?" Silence fell like a blanket. Fear gripped the room. Jake's heart raced. It was easy to rally around the dream, but hard to wrap it in the reality of their situation. "Hey," Jake said, stepping forward. "What if we start small? We could do a fundraiser to kick things off. Maybe a bake sale, or a car wash." Everyone exchanged nods, inspired by the idea. Carol even suggested, "And we could involve the kids. They'd be excited to help." The atmosphere lightened, and Jake felt the tension release. This was a community action at its finest. He could see the determination etched on their faces. Brian chimed in, "I like it. A grassroots approach could connect more people with what you're trying to achieve. Count me in for whatever you need." Jake smiled widely. This man wasn't just an outsider. He was becoming part of their team, part of their dreams. Together they brainstormed about kickstarting their first event and reaching out to local newspapers for coverage. With every idea shared, Jake felt as if they were laying down bricks for something monumental, but as excitement enveloped him, a new worry emerged. Was the foundation strong enough? Could they really sustain this momentum? Deep inside, a voice whispered that it all hinged on Brian's involvement. As the meeting wrapped up, Jake lingered for a moment. He caught Brian's eye once more, a question floating unspoken between them. What if the help they sought was as fragile as the dreams being built? Just as enthusiasm filled the air again, a small timer dinged from the back of the room. "Meeting is officially over. See you all next week," the volunteer announced, and the moment shifted. Jake hesitated. Was this just the beginning, or were they standing on the edge of something greater? With his heart racing and thoughts swirling, he turned to Brian. "If you're really in this with us, we need to talk soon about plans, about everything." "Of course," Brian replied, sincerity lighting up his eyes. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." Jake walked out of the community center feeling lighter, yet more anxious than ever. This was it. The moment where everything could flip in their favor or fade away just as quickly. As he stepped out into the spring air, he took a deep breath. The weight of possibilities settled within him. What would it take to make this real? And could one unexpected connection truly change everything? Jake stepped away from the community center, feeling buoyed by the evening's energy, yet haunted by doubt. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm glow that painted the streets in shades of gold. He took a moment to breathe in the crisp air, trying to shake off the lingering anxiety that clung to his thoughts. A plan was forming, but clarity still eluded him. He had a team now. They had hope and enthusiasm, but was that enough? Every step toward home felt like a weight dragging him back. Could he trust Brian? With so many vested interests, could their dreams withstand scrutiny? As he traversed the familiar streets, he spotted Timmy playing in the yard, his laughter ringing clear like wind chimes in the breeze. The sight pulled at Jake's heart. This was why he was fighting so hard. To build a brighter future not just for himself, but for Timmy, and for the entire community these shared dreams could uplift. But what if it all crumbled? Inside his home, the silence felt overwhelming. The clock ticked on the wall, reminding him of the time passing by, of the urgency of their plans. Sitting at the dining table, he grabbed a notepad. His mind was buzzing with ideas, but they swirled chaotic and unfocused. Each stroke of the pen felt like a battle against his fears. Fundraising events, he murmured to himself, jotting down words that felt both surreal and hopeful. Bake sale, car wash, local businesses. His mind raced, scribbling notes, drawing tiny doodles representing each idea, every one a potential lifeline. Then, a vision of the talent show floated in his thoughts. What if they could make it something more than just a mere event? What if it became a celebration, a festival of sorts that showcased all the talents bursting in their community? That might just lure people in and unite everyone. Yeah, that could work, he whispered excitedly, feeling the spark rekindle within him. The sound of tiny feet patted across the floor as Timmy entered the room, his bright eyes fixed on Jake. "Daddy, can we have ice cream before bed?" Jake smiled, noticing the innocence and joy radiating from his son. "Sure, buddy, but only if you help me with something first." "Okay." Timmy bounced with excitement. They scavenged the house for old items to sell, hunting down toys Timmy had outgrown and little knickknacks that gathered dust. Each item gave Jake fresh ideas for the event, and soon the dining room was transformed into a temporary headquarters filled with potential. Timmy was positively beaming as they packed the items into a small box. "Do you think people will really want to buy this stuff, Dad?" "Absolutely, Sport. They will when they see it's for a good cause. It's not just about the stuff. It's about us coming together," Jake replied, pride swelling in his chest. But even as he said it, a knot in his stomach clenched tighter. Would people rally behind this idea? Would they really care? He pushed those doubts aside, focusing on the bright face in front of him instead. They were building something together, brick by brick. After they finished, Jake settled back with Timmy and watched cartoons for a while, stealing moments of joy from the simple routine. They laughed at silly antics on screen, but as the credits rolled, Jake returned to his thoughts about the upcoming meeting with Brian. Would he truly be there for them? As the clock pointed toward bedtime, Jake tucked Timmy in and planted a kiss on his forehead. "Dream big, okay?" he whispered, feeling the swell of determination settle within him. Outside, under the vast, starry sky, Jake stood on the porch, looking out into the neighborhood. The dreams they were igniting felt fragile, yet profoundly compelling all at once. He couldn't let fear paralyze him. Not when there was so much at stake. Could he really summon the courage to dive deeper, confront the inevitable challenges, and nurture this baby idea until it blossomed? Or would it wither before it even had a chance? Only time would tell if he could transform this moment into something remarkable. As he lingered beneath the blanket of stars, a question gnawed at him. Would they be able to rely on Brian's commitment? What if the dreams they were weaving relied on someone else's promise? And a thought struck him. What if this was not just about raising money, but about creating a story of resilience? Could he truly be the catalyst for change that this community desperately needed? With his heart pounding, Jake made a silent promise to himself. He wouldn't back down. Not now. Not ever. The big day arrived, and the community center pulsed with life. Tables were laden with colorful posters. One read "Dream Team Launch. Together we rise." The room buzzed with laughter, mingling voices eager to unite behind a shared mission. Jake's heart raced as he stepped over the threshold, excitement battling his earlier doubts. Timmy ran ahead, eyes wide with joy as he spotted his friends. Their laughter sparked a warmth in Jake, a reminder of why they had all come together. He approached the front, where the familiar figure of Brian stood with a small group, conversing intently. "Hey, Jake." "Just in time," Brian greeted, his eyes glimmering with enthusiasm. "We're ready to kick things off." Jake found his bearings, the nerves pushing him forward instead of back. Their moments of brainstorming shifted from dreams into something vibrant, concrete, and tangible. The excitement radiating off the crowd melted away the last of his hesitation. "All right, everyone," Jake called, his voice steady. The din softened as eager eyes turned toward him. "Thank you all for being here today. We're not just starting a project. We're building a community, a real family. Together." A cheer erupted in response, each clap echoing like a heartbeat in unison. "Let us rally behind our first event, the Summer Festival," he announced. As he revealed plans for the talent showcase, kids leaped from seats with glee. "We'll feature art, music, and performances from every one of you. And all this will raise funds to ensure our community thrives." The room erupted with whispers and chatter. Carol stood, a radiant smile breaking across her face. "I'll handle the outreach for performers. There are so many talented people in town. Let us pair up for organization teams," shouted another. Excitement surged as hands shot up in the air. Purpose ignited in the room that AS ideas flowed. Jake moved among the groups, his spirit lifting with every exchanged smile. Yet, anxiety simmered beneath the surface. Would the energy last? What if things went wrong? Towards the end, someone raised a hand, voice serious yet curious. "What happens if we run into issues? Funding, permits, coordination?" Jake took a breath, grounding himself. "Then we'll face them together. That SY Dream Team isn't just a name, it's a promise. A promise to support each other through everything." Nods and cheers followed, warmth spreading through him. It was more than just optimism. It was the dawn of an unbreakable bond forming in this room. As the gathering culminated, Brian stepped toward Jake. "I'm excited about the momentum you've all created. It's something special, and I want to ensure we lay the groundwork for success." Jake smiled, appreciation blooming in his chest. "Together, we can make this happen. I know it." Days turned into weeks, the process invigorating yet daunting. Jake led brainstorming sessions, navigated hiccups, and watched as the community came alive with enthusiasm and creativity. Timmy and his friends painted banners, while parents coordinated logistics. Each small victory felt monumental, a step closer to their dream, but challenges arose too. Permits were delayed, funding uncertain, and tempers flared during discussions. In quiet moments, doubt crept back in. Could they do this? Would the dream create a rift, stripping away what they had built? One evening, during a particularly stressful meeting, tensions flared. Voices rose, frustration bubbling under the surface. Jake felt that old knot clench tighter. Just as the atmosphere turned heavy, he stood. "Everyone," he said, raising his hand. "We're all here for the same reason. Let us remember why we began." He took a deep breath. "Let us share our worries, instead of letting them pull us apart. This isn't just about one event. It's about fostering connection. Can we work through this together?" Slowly, murmurs quieted into candid conversations. Voices softened, sharing fears and uncertainties. The shared vulnerability turned the tide in an instant. People reached across the table, touching shoulders and acknowledging each other. They united instead of dividing, resolving to tackle each issue like a team. That day was a turning point, the fabric of their community woven tighter in shared struggles and triumphs. Jake felt the load lift, hope igniting bigger than before. Finally, as the night of the summer festival dawned, the air pulsed with anticipation. Kids darted around, laughter echoing, while colorful tents adorned the park. Music wafted through the warm summer air. Jake glanced around, soaking in the sight. Their dream had manifested beyond his wildest imaginations. Timmy stood beside him, his eyes wide at the crowd gathered. "Look, Dad. Everyone's here." "Yes, buddy. It's amazing." Jake felt pride swell in his heart, brighter than any jewel. As the festival unfolded, Jake watched every corner of their community flourish. Bobbing heads danced along to a performance on stage, and the warmth of laughter rang out like a beautiful chorus. Every struggle, every doubt had led to this moment, a vibrant testament to their strength, resilience, and love. As night fell and the fireworks exploded over their heads, Jake felt tears of joy prick at his eyes. "We did it. Together." His heart swelled, grateful for the journey, the connections, and the unwavering support that in that moment. Surrounded by laughter, lights, and the thrill of success, Jake realized that his daughter, his community, their hopes intertwined in an indestructible knot. They had built something real, something bold, and it all started with a single leap of faith. This was not the end. It was merely the beginning of what they could accomplish together. Jake turned to Brian, who stood watching, a satisfied grin adorning his face. This was just the start, both understood. And in that moment, filled with joy, Jake made a silent pact. He would nurture this connection and continue cultivating the growth of their dreams. Together they would rise, no matter the challenges ahead. Now, the ultimate choice lies with you, the viewer. Are you inspired? Determined to chase after your own dreams and support those around you? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that spark hope and change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this energy flowing. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful transformation, sharing your own stories and hopes for the future. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support and witness how a dream can change lives. Don't wait not even one more second to be part of something bigger.